In this video, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to make better use of ambient lights, and throughout this video, I'll be showing you screenshots from different movies that make a good use of these lights. The most important part of any photograph or video is light, and the most available light you'll ever see is ambient light, which is basically any light you didn't bring to the shoot or scene. But before we get into how to make use of this ambient light, why should you ever use it in the first place? Well, as I mentioned before, they are available. The sun, the moon, street lights, lamps, ceiling lights, fluorescents. You will always have one or more of these lights in most places, so why not just make use of them? It's also free and can be a good way of saving money, especially if you're shooting on a budget. I mean, have you seen the prices on some of these video lights? You might also consider using ambient lights as a way to challenge yourself creatively. Well, whatever your reasons are, here are 5 ways to make better use of ambient lights. 1. Time and light changes. The time of the day and even the weather would affect how your photos or videos would look, especially if you're shooting with natural lights. So the best thing to do is to time your shots to get the exact look you want. If you are going for a soft, warm look, then it's best to get your shooting done during golden hour. That's when you get this type of light and color to your photos or videos. And if you are going for maybe a soft, cool look, then you might decide to shoot during blue hour. So the point basically is just take your photos or videos when the time of the day and the weather would give you the look that you're going for. 2. You can control ambient lights. It's easy to think that since you're not the one setting this light up, you have no control over it, but that's not the case. You can modify ambient lights. If you use a diffuser when shooting in harsh sunlight, you could use that to, kind of like control how hard that light is and how it falls on your subject. You could use a reflector to bounce the available light and kind of fill in the shadows on your subject. And you could always block out this light using flags, and kind of like redirect it and shape the light the way you want. Whatever the case, you have ways of controlling the available lights because it's light. The same way you control the lights you set up in the scene is also the same way you can also control these already made lights. Another way to control ambient light is by putting your subject in a position where the light will give you creative results. And that brings us to our third point: silhouettes and backlights. If you put your subject in front of the available light and you expose for that light, you end up with a nice looking silhouette, just like these frames from Dunkirk and Shutter Island. Now, this particular image is not from a movie, but it's a really cool silhouette where the photographer makes use of the available subway lights to get this cool looking image, and I just had to put this in the video. When backlighting, you can still get creative and interesting results without necessarily making a silhouette, if silhouettes aren't your thing. Check out some of these frames, also from Shutter Island, that are backlit beautifully, and take a second to subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm pretty sure the lighting in these frames are not ambient, but while I was getting the silhouette I showed earlier, I found these also and I just had to use them. For long exposures, there's not too much to say here because this is something I've not personally done a lot of, but shooting with a slow shutter and combining this with ambient lights can give you some interesting creative results. So in cinematography, shooting with a slow shutter can also produce similar effects, and there's a fantastic video from Marble that explains how this works. I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out if you're interested in learning how that works. 5. Balance with extra lights. Yes, you don't have to use ambient lights alone if you have other light sources. Just as you can modify the ambient lights, combining them with your own light sources can also give you good results, Take The Revenant for example. This award-winning movie was shot entirely in natural lights, except for one scene where the wind disturbed the camera so much that they had to place light bulbs to get the look that they were going for. But you wouldn't know. And that just goes to show that you can always combine the light you have there with the light you brought with you to get your final results. Now, one more thing I found is that